The important foundational knowledge is that the consciousness is your own awareness. It is your own pure, natural, simple awareness. It is actually very simple. Your own awareness is very simple. There's nothing complicated about it. It is not a mystical thing. It is not on another dimension. And it is neither an altered state of consciousness that you can only access in a specific altered way. Awareness is simply present and here, and it is yours. It is your own awareness. You may ask yourself a question, am I aware? And you will receive the obvious insight that yes, you are. Full consciousness means that awareness is brought to the foreground of your experience. That awareness is recognized as the one and only reality. It is recognized as the most stable, foundational, unchanging, ever-present light which illuminates your experience. It illuminates your thoughts, giving you ability to see your thoughts, to notice them. It illuminates your feelings and emotions for you to be able to recognize that you actually have them. Awareness illuminates energies. When you experience all these new and strange feelings, or some of you are very used to energetic experiences, it allows you to notice that these energies are being experienced within. So awareness is always present. It is always here. There's no distance. The only distance is your own focus, is your own attention, which is commonly placed upon objects such as thoughts, emotions, feelings, and energies. So since you are more familiar with the changing phenomena, since you're more familiar with your experience, and some people are really identified with their experience, that there's nothing else apart from my own experience, apart from these thoughts and feelings and things around you and so on. But all of that is a manifestation, and the fundamental reality is usually ignored, and thus it is residing in the background. So awakening, enlightenment, self-realization is recognizing that the changing phenomena is always changing. It is composed of energy, feelings, emotions, thoughts, and objects. But freedom is realization of the underlying, ever-present, boundless, and pure awareness. And that's what is consciousness. You don't need to think about it any more than that. So awareness is here, it is yours, no one else. So thus, we need to bring it into the foreground, to bring it evidentially into your conscious experience. The next step, it is what is in between awareness and your present focus. It's to clear those structures. It's to clear the things that grab your attention, the things that your attention is drawn into, the things that your attention and focus is usually engaged with. So depending on your level of experience, for the beginners, it's obviously the thoughts, emotions. For those who have done more work, it would be more about energies and spaces. Yeah, it's very common as well to constantly intermingle with your chakras and Kundalini energy, or then to discover some deeper spaces such as presence, non-duality, or even the void, and interacting with energies and spaces. So your attention and focus is drawn to that which you are mostly familiar with. To that which you are mostly familiar with, whether you like it or not. Yes, what that means is that, of course, you may have some enjoyable feelings, enjoyable energies. And at the same time, you have feelings and emotions and thoughts that you don't want to have, but they're here. And resistance. There's a saying that it has a certain persistence. A resistance has a persistence. So as long as you resist that which you don't like, it's gonna probably stay there. So your attention and focus is drawn to that which you're mostly familiar with, whether you like it or not. And that's your current level of consciousness. So the invitation tonight is to step away from your current familiar experience, interaction with objectivity or energies and spaces, and to align and start opening yourself and become more familiar with what is called the natural state, the effortless awareness, the present effortless awareness. The invitation is to become more familiar with that which is always presently here, to become more familiar with that which is natural, not normal, but natural. There is a difference. Normal is that which you are used to already. So for example, at the beginning of your spiritual journey, you were used to your thoughts, emotions, then you got used to energies, and so on. So that is a process of familiarization. And the invitation tonight is to start familiarizing with the open present awareness. It is very naturally here. It is very effortless. It is so pure that it is untouchable by any experience, any energy, any manifestation. And the last invitation of tonight is to align yourself that is a bit of what I call a dimensional work, to align yourself with your own source self, with your highest vibration. Some people call it the Christ consciousness or Buddha nature, Buddha consciousness or Krishna consciousness, Shiva consciousness, and so on. It's still whatever names you prefer, to align with your highest source self, to your highest source self. Not to try to meet some, Jesus or Krishna somewhere in another dimension, but to align with your own source self, with your own mighty source self. So this is the invitation of tonight. So before we go into the meditation, now we can start aligning. We can start the process of aligning consciously, and then I will guide you into the meditation and into the transmission. The most important thing for you to do during the meditation transmission is to be receptive, and open to receive. Not necessarily having a certain expectation of what's supposed to happen, but simply being receptive and open to receive and to experience whatever will come. So leaving the mind on the side, basically. Allowing yourself to be open and leaving the mind on the side. Your own source self is the highest vibration of yourself. Your own source self is the mighty God within you. It is your own source self. It is residing beyond any causality. Your own source self, it is an ascended being, we may say. It is your ascended being. It is beyond karma. It is a liberated you who is already in the now. What I mean by that, your source self is already here. It is already present. Now, what is needed is to bring your source self into this physical manifested experience and to clear the clouds in between. Because if you are honest, you will recognize that mostly you're functioning through your lower nature, through your desires, through your mental expectations, through the social conditioning, to all those social norms, even just by being a human being, as a normal, so to speak, human being, you're already functioning in a conditioned way, because your own source self is not human. It is not in a human body or shape. It is the ascended and liberated you. So therefore, your own source self, we may say, is looking from above and simply witnessing the experience of this body-mind being. And all that you consider normal and usual as a human being, it's a bit strange to your own source self, to be honest. For your own source self, a human nature is a bit like, it's sort of a mammal, being, creature. You know, let's admit, you know, we this human body is a smart mammal form. Yeah, and it has all those functions of eating and sleeping and doing all this stuff, you know, 8 hours being somewhere in you know, sleeping in the in-between states and so on. All of these things are a bit weird and strange from the perspective of the source self, who is the living light and truth of the only present reality and ever pouring pure positive source energy. So for your own source self to witness this body, this life is a unique and a little bit strange experience, because being in physical actually is very unique and strange, because most of the universe is actually non-physical. It is pure energy in many different densities, and somehow we as a human collective have a certain conditioned idea that we are living in a physical reality, and therefore with this conditioned idea we further crudify our experience of the solidity and separation from energy. So this idea that this body is physical is actually not serving you in the highest sense, because it supports the idea of separation. It supports the idea that this is physical and this is spiritual and this is divine and this is this and this and that. So it supports a division, a separational idea. So the best way to start perceiving yourself is to understand that all of this is energy, that even your body is energy, and your body is not limited by the skin and flesh. You actually can feel and sense many things right around you and even further from the body. So the skin and flesh is only the smallest part. It's the visible smallest part of your being. Your many times when people ask about the soul, people ask, so you know, how big is my soul? And actually your soul, and every one of you has an individual soul. So your soul is basically like a whole sky filled with golden energy. This is how big your soul is. And then there is this golden string connected anchored into the body as a string, as a golden string for the average human person, and for those who have worked upon the soul connection, you can actually embody the soul, so that the soul the soul's energy is pouring into the body. It's embodying into the body. Not all of it, because the body will never fit your whole soul in it. Yeah, so the soul is as big as the whole sky filled with golden energy. And that is your soul. That is your own soul. So your own source self is not only the sky filled with golden energy, it's really everything. It's really everything. It's we can say as bright as the 1,000 suns, and as big as the center of the universe. And one way to align with your source self is to understand that your source self is the pure positive energy. It is the all good things manifest. Your own source self is the pure goodness. It's the pure love. All good things manifest. And that's where the human condition needs to be really released. Because in a human condition, as I briefly mentioned before, we automatically accept the idea of physicality. The human beings are conditioned to automatically accept the idea of separation, to automatically believe in limitation and lack. And due to this collective conditioning, there is a sense of being the small body, mind being, which could be nothing more further from the truth. Because apart from these ideas, maybe what is truly not lacking in human experience is false ideas. That part is truly not lacking in human experience. The false ideas of reality, all the misconceptions, all sorts of unrealistic imaginations, and believing in something that the universe is actually not like that. So believing in a limitation and lack while the universe is absolutely abundant. Believing in separation while it is impossible to be separated, being in the universe. It's just like, how can your eyes be separated from your body? How can your finger be separated from your body? It's part of the body. That's it. So you are part of the universe. That's it. So these ideas and beliefs, that's what's truly not lacking. And that's what creates the whole strangeness of the human experience versus the reality. So the reality and the universe is a pure positive manifestation. And your own source self is the pure positive being. It's the constant outpouring, never lacking. It's the constant outpouring of the all good things. It's the constant outpouring of the pure positive love. And that's where Jesus was right when he was speaking about this immense love. And that's where all the saints and sages have been always right, that the universe is a magnificent, beautiful being, and we all are co-creators of it. And the strangeness of human ideology is truly not serving humanity as a whole. So that needs to be cleared. So the way to align to your own source self is first to get to know what that is. And this is why I'm telling you this, is to get to know what that is. It is the pure source, all good things. Now, all these ideas about evil and darkness and so on, I'll answer you very simply. It is the lack of knowledge of the truth of what is, the lack of the knowledge of the truth of the universe, and it is a certain distortion. So it is a certain error, that something like in a computer language, there is a bug or virus, and it's screwing up with the natural system, and that's what the darkness and evil is just something which is unnatural, something which is we can say anomaly. So that's what the darkness is. It's anomaly. And that's where again Buddha was right, saying that the ignorance of the truth is one of the greatest weakness of humanity. So let's come to realize that the universe reality is absolutely loving, is absolutely positive, abundant, constantly outpouring. Yes, constantly outpouring, radiant. Your own source self is we may say, I usually give the image of the bright yellow golden sun. That is your own source self. Now, speaking a bit dimensionally in between, for those who have ability to tune into the higher realms, your source self is as this golden yellow sun, and from the center of the universe, it pours into the great central sun within this galaxy, and the energy then pours into our local sun, and then it reaches in a energetic way, it reaches the present locality as such. But in your meditations and visualizations, you can connect to the sun, to our local sun, as a pathway into the great central sun, and then into the center of the universe. Yeah, so that's one way to quickly realign and connect to your own source self. And for everyone, to make it even more simple, you can simply invite your source self to step forward. And that's it. You should never underestimate the power of simplicity. To simply open-heartedly invite your own source self to step forward and to guide you, to surrender yourself, to be guided. Yes, to surrender your mind, to surrender your mentality, your psychology, and so on, to be guided by your own source self. So first, to invite your own source self to come present, or your Christ consciousness, whatever you want to name it, to step forward, and then to surrender to be guided by it. And that is a practice. And that is a practice. Of course, it is better to do it in a more present and meditative way, rather than, you're in your busy, hectic mind, and then, oh, God's source self, can you come in? If you're too preoccupied and too busy with your own stuff, you don't have much space for anything else. So first, calm down a bit, and come in a bit more balanced state, and even better in a light meditative state, and invite your own source self to step forward and to surrender your mind, to surrender your lower self, to surrender whatever you know about yourself, whatever you know, surrender all of that to be guided by your own source self. And that is a very simple practice, and it always works out in one way or another. You will create more and more space and receptivity to connect and be guided. Because let's face it, that the human mind is extremely limited, no matter your IQ, that whatever knowledge you would acquire or download, it is still objectively a little sand, grain of sand in the beach. The source self is way beyond thousands and thousands of incarnations that you had on this earth and anywhere else in the universe. So whatever knowledge at whatever level of consciousness you have, just let it go for a bit. Allow your source self to take care of things. That will always